I got some books down here, but I don't know. It would be very hard to hold a book and my phone at the same time. Scott now. I wonder how well I'm gonna be streaming from here. If I should shut my Wi-Fi off. If the live is choppy, let me know. Let's get fired up here for a minute. I am here gisago nuts note sao ni hioan. Kakwe ni hioan tato gisaga maga. Moi miste tsanuian nutsage. So what do you want to work on tonight? I think that's what we're trying to figure out. I'm going to be headed. We just came from Ote. Amiskua tiu skaiga nik. Netaya nana nuts. Nigipe ototanan. Gipe ototanan ay asni watsik. The mountains, Hinton. I wonder how you would say that. One sisu ka pesuin. I wonder if you could say that. There must be a better word for that than one sisu ka pesuin. So just hanging out in Edmonton. I'm going to fire up something. I'm just trying to decide what I want to work on tonight. A little bit tired. We did Cree Literacy Network last time, didn't we? Cree Literacy. Dansukiwao. Let's flip around my camera here instead of staring at me. I think we were looking at. Let's go over to read and listen. Atsimona. And I think we were working on this one before. And we got partway through this story, I think. I think we finished this one. Tisqua. How come this won't do what I want? How do I go to the next page? Next page. I should just download this PDF. That may be easier. Yes, download. Then I got to figure out where it went. Tisqua. We'll get fired up here in a minute. Files, maybe it's here. Downloads. Recent. This one. Yeah, this one here. Okay. We finished off on the last story here. Tisqua. I think there's two stories. Oh, come on. My iPad just locked up. Why? I just can't get anything to do what I want. I don't think we were that far. They brought the head and they showed it to people. Oh, here we are. This is, we were on 29. That's where we left off last time. That's enough of this one for now. Moi mitane nama mitanato aiskin wesen gatotin wiaga metone atotaman. And I guess I sort of understand that a little bit better now that I get my pen here. It says, I did not tell the whole story Because if I did, it would take a lot longer to tell, it says. Moi metani nama metonatotin. Aisk, because kinways ngatotin wia. This is an interesting use of, sometimes fluent speakers use wia. It's weird, it's hard to tell when you're supposed to use wia and you're supposed to use unma or you're supposed to use eogo. And I don't know if it's just like sometimes fluent, if it's speaker preference or what, but anyway. Aiskin ways gatotin wia ga meton atotaman. Because I'll tell it a long time, that one. I have to think about that. Gatotin. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Page 4. I don't have all my stuff, so we'll just, I have that other document. We can talk about some of the stuff a little bit. I don't have quite the same setup tonight because I'm in Edmonton, but we'll just do our best as we go through here. Okay. Umaigwa ga anski atotaman aik kigwaya uhe o tigagi egonigayas. Kagi egonigayas. Seems like a false start. Gayas atsmuna. Kite ayakagi peatsmustoatsik. Uskaya. Egayat kwewanita tegaya. Tagawi wangiskisit aisinu nehio aisinu uta. So, okay, let's just go through that one bit at a time here. Anske is like ansko, anske, like linked, I guess. Ganske totaman, aik, kigwaya, uheutse gagegonigaya satsmuna. So it's like a long ago story. What does it say over here? Now this story I'm about to tell, it links to the previous story. Interesting. These stories of long ago were told by the elders to the young. Yeah, that part I got. Kiteaya kagi peatsamostoatsik oskaya. Egaya de kakwe wanitat. Egaya tagaw wangiskisit aisinu nehio aisinu uta. They told these linking stories so that the young would not lose the knowledge, for the young not to forget about the Cree people here. Egaya tagaw wangiskisit aisinu. Interesting. Always studying the phrasing because it's interesting the way fluent speakers say things sometimes. I find really interesting. Okay, we'll just keep going. Oh, of course my iPad is not playing along nicely. Okay, tanse egi pesaya aisiniuit gayas. There's a big word. Egi pesa I see new it. Gaya segi pesa pimatse hut mine eugo tegagi mamskota kik. Ohegagi atsmustoatsik uskaya. Okay, there's a whole bunch in there. Let's just, I gotta shuffle things this way a bit. I can't hold my phone like this forever, so I gotta move the iPad back there. That's a little better. Get an armrest. I'm in my RV in Edmonton this week, so I don't have my typical setup, so we're doing the best we can. Okay, so Dansi pays egi pays I sinuit Gaias how they how would you phrase that? In my brain, I want to say like how they were people, the way in which they existed, I guess, a long time ago. What does it say over here? How they lived in the past. Okay. Oh no, that'd be this one, wouldn't it? Egi pes pematsihut. This is like to, pematsuho is like to, I don't know, what would you say? How you kind of make your living, or how you take care of yourself. Pematsuho. Let me see if we're in the browser here. Tisco. How do I get back? No, I'm in there. Pematsuho. Let's look at that. Oops. Pematsuho. Make a living. Make a life for yourself. Travel, I guess. But yeah, that's pematsuho. That makes sense. So this must be the one. Let's go check that. How they lived in the past and how their unique identity developed. That must be this part here. The interpretation of this part. Egipes I seen you it. Because the I seen you like is a person. I seen you would be like to be a person. That's like there's a lot in that word. There's a lot in that word. Just making my brain work. Oh, I got comments. This person says, wow, your pronunciation is very good. How long have you been speaking? I've been working on the language for about 7 years this summer. About 7 years. We're reading, so this is the story is a continuation of the story we were working on before from just Cree Literacy Network. I'm on the iPad, so I don't even know what I'm doing here. This one here, Cree Stories of the Horse and Buffalo from the Cree Literacy Network. And we're just kind of working through this story. There's actually 2 stories in here. So we did the last one. I think we're on page 4. We did the last story and we're just starting on the next one here. And just kind of like studying the words a little bit and trying to understand, build our comprehension, practice reading, the kind of stuff. I call this prep because I'm going to be out in the summer times. Usually when we go around, we go to ceremony. I got a camp coming up on the 17th, and I got another camp coming up on the 24th. And so I always like to go in prepared, if that makes sense. Don't want to just show up and expect people to teach me stuff. I always try to study and like prep myself, try to learn some new vocab. It's not even vocabulary, like it's phrasing, right? Like if you take this word, where's that one? Like I see nu, you might recognize that word, I see nu, right? But then if you look at I see you would be I see you or I see you will. I see you, because this is now, I see you was a person, but this is a verb now. This is speaking about how they came to be, the way in which they came to be as people. I guess you'd say it that way, right? Because there's a lot happening in this. I seen you it. It's just it's almost like phrasing, like there's just so much in that one word, right? So anyway, it's one of those things. I don't want to get hung up on it. I just like to study this kind of stuff because fluent speakers will talk like this, right? And if you've never heard that before, it can be like, or if it's like, oh, I think I know what that means, then it's just easier to follow along if they're telling a story or whatever. Eogo tsigagi mamskuta kikui gagi atsmustoa tsikuskaya mamskuta kik. Mamskuta kik is like to wonder about things, right? To wonder about something. 31. It just says here, this is why they talk to, oh, mamskutain is to tell about something. Yeah, mamskutain. That's just to tell about something. Let me just double check that. Mamskutain. Mamiskutain. Mamsku. Where's it at? Mamsku. Oh, there's no H. To discuss something, expound upon something. Mamskutain. Mamskutain. Mamskutam is the word. So that's this one here. They have, they've spelled this one with an H, but that's fine. Eogoti. Gagi mamskutagek uhegagi atmustoatekuskaya. So the interpretation over here says, this is why they talked to the young about these stories. There's actually a little bit more in this sentence in that little bit there. But that eogoti, that's sort of like, that's the reason why. Eogoti. These ones here, these long ago stories, I guess you'd call them. Magana moyohe epe ma met nayayan ohiga totaman. There's another kind of a big word there. If I took a stab at this, just the way I understand, like metone is like really or a lot, I guess. It almost seems like he's saying I don't have all of it. What's it say over here? These stories of long ago that I am telling, I am not specific and I am not telling them in full length. Yeah, it's interesting. Interesting. This is Plains Cree dialect ni Ewan. Delana says, I love this. You should do more lives like this. I do a live every Sunday. I missed last Sunday, so I'm sorry about that. I thought camp day was Thursday and that we would be done on Monday, and it turned out camp day was Wednesday and we were done Sunday. So about this time last Sunday we were packing up camp and trying to get to Edmonton, so I didn't get a chance to go live last week. But I do try to go live every Sunday around the same time. Gagin ways o hini so he, so I Gagin ways o he ni so he. So these two stories, Gagin ways egi atota kik egi metonestic eguaga anske atimuyan. So this is that linked story. Let's check the, because this is it's like I think I know what's this one was like I know all those words. I'm pretty sure just based on the previous context I know what they're trying to say here. We'll just read over here and see what it says. Just these two stories take a long time to tell. They used to take a long time to tell these stories. They used to go into the specific details in these linking stories. Maybe that's that word there. Egi metonestic. Oh, can you say that? Metonesu? Metonese? Metonesu? I gotta check because I don't know that word. I mean, I know what metone is as a what they call a particle, but as a verb, I don't know what that is. Metonese? Can you say that? Metonistic. Metonisse. Can you say that? No. Probably not going to come up. That's okay. We'll just keep going. I just don't know that one word. Like, I think I know what they're saying. Oh, my iPad's being a pain. There we go. Okay, kei tātou e peak. E ai ke nā peo e saga poata ke te sipue te ke te pe sipue te e miku sit psiskua wi tamu au tāpati apati hat. So at some point in time, I guess, e peak e ai ke I don't know that word. Nā peo isa, he had a dream, ka pauata, get the pe sipuite, that he was going to leave, he was going to go somewhere. E mihko sit psiskua. Something about a red animal. E mihko sit psiskua. To tell them to use it? I'm missing some pieces here. Let's see what it says over here. At one time there must have been a man who dreamt that he was to set off to travel when he was given a red animal and told to use it. He was given a red animal and told to use it. This must be the clue in there. And why isn't this a mihkosiet if it's the animal, pisiskua? I think it's maybe just a mistake, so not the end of the world. This is one of those ones where they, like the interpretation, he was given a red animal and told to use it. Like the told part is right here. We tamuau, he was told. Hat to use it, but given, the actual word given isn't in here. This is red. It's red animal. I think this should actually be e mihkosiet pisiskua, but again, with tamua hat. Okay, so let's keep going. Tapuega ga sipui tit. Not to me. So this can mean, not to me can mean like west, or it can be, what's the other word for that? Not to me, does that mean upstream or into the bush? I forget what that means. Let's go, not to me. I didn't bring that book. I was at this Sundance one time, and this old guy came to me and he told me these, he's like, is it Natimi? Upstream, that's the one I was thinking. But he told me the names. He said, like, nowadays we say, Sagaste nok, Apita gisaganok, Baksimutak and Giwetnok, but there's actually, he told me there's these old names for the directions, and Namatik was one of them for the west. I got them wrote down. I forget what the other ones are. Anyway, so that's one of those ones that's can be confusing, because it's like Tapwe Gwaga Sipwe Tate Natami. I keep saying Namatik. Natami. So then it's like, does he mean upstream or does he mean to the west? Es sipuitit wiolma kagi suwapa tak ski wolmagar es sipuitit atepim nistoenam eteoma getotit. Okay, let me see if I can puzzle my way. So as he was leaving, kagi suwapa tak askik ego omagaya sipuitit atepim nistoenam like he recognizes it. He begins something recognize. I'm gonna need some. I need to phone a friend on this one because there's a lot in there. So what does it say here? He set out to find the land he had seen in his dream. As he went along, he recognized from his dream the direction he was to follow. Interesting. I want to read that one more time. As he left, or when he left, at the pim stonam iteoma gatotet, he was to go. Interesting. Tapuega sipuitet natimi. Ace sipuitet wioma. I wonder if this wioma is referring to the dream, right? That's one of those ones, if you look up wiya, like we learned wiya means that, like our pronouns, right? Nia, that's me. Kia, that's you. Wiya, that's that other one. But wiya can be in stories. It can point to it. So that person, theirs. But then there's like for, because, of course, to be sure. In fact, it's almost like an emphatic, like used for emphasis. This, that, as, for, by contrast. So this, in these contexts, I don't like, yeah, there's a lot of ways you can use that word. And so just reading this part here, come on, iPad, wake up. Won't let me scroll every once in a while. It's being a pain. Why? Why are you being like this? Okay. I think we're further down than that. Come on. My iPad's being a real pain in the butt. I don't know why. Are we at the bottom of the page? I don't think so. There. Okay, we'll just keep going. How mitnegwa na spits gigsepayao. Wonder what that means. Na spits. So it was really something morning. Hegiotita Woma Sagaigan. He had approached a lake. Sagaigan. Kasagi wito ta kegwa. Wa kusquapsin egota mitene ma misigiti eto hipsisqua. So it was a really big animal anyway. We get that part. Let's try this one more time. How mitene egwa na spits. I've heard this before, but I can't remember what that means. We'll check the English in a second here. So he had approached Omasagahigan Kasagewitota. I don't know that word. Egwa. Wa kusquapsin egota. Kusquapsin. It's almost like he was, that means scared. I forget what that word means. Okay, let's read this part over here. It was fully mid-morning. Okay, interesting. Na spitskigsepayo. When he arrived at the lake, when he came out into the open, oh my, he was astonished to see these big animals. Oh yes, that one. Kusquapsin, surprised, I think that means, or astonished. This one, I guess, is when he comes out into the open. Sagewetota. That's a neat word. Sagewetotam. Kusquapsin egota. Metenema misigitieto hipsisqua. Metone sisune sagaigani misue hayet. Gatsa sipuitiet etepa pahkopiet a spin. That word's tickling my brain. So all so all around the lake, I guess. So they were all over the place around the lake. Got sepuite e atipa kopiet a spin. Telena says stepping into the water. Is that what that means? Pakopeo? Pakopeo. It sounds like something to do with water for sure. Let's go read this part over here. All along the lake they were. They were walking away from him into the water, then they were gone. Pakopeo, I want to look at that word. Like this part is to, the sepuiteo is to leave. Atisa sepuiteit. Pakopeo. Pakopeo, I want to look that word up. Pakopeo. Because those words, if you don't, you only hear them wade into the water. Yeah, that was in another story that we read recently. Pakopeo. Interesting. And that for me, for my brain, if I only hear, if I only hear a word every once in a while, like I have a better, there's a good chance I will forget it. Alex says, what's the word for the avian species? Piasuak. Piasuak is birds generally. Piasuak. Piasu is more like, I understand that more is like the thunderbird. Piasuak is like the thunder beings. But for the birds, like just the birds in general, piasuak is how I understand that. Okay. Yogo chego ta tite hayet e ayayet ituteo. And so I atit egota atit e ayayet ituteo. For that reason, oh no, not eogochi, eogo he. I read that wrong. I'm looking through my phone. Eogo he egota. These ones, egota atit e hayayet. Oh, I gotta go read this. He went to where some of them had been. That's interesting. I would see, my learner brain would expect that to be egi hayayet. Egi hayayet, but yeah, again, the way you phrase things is tricky sometimes. This is the hardest thing to figure out as a learner, in my opinion, is how you phrase things. So again, when I read this, that's like, I know all those words. Right? I know eogo he egota atit e hayayet ituteo. Individually, I know what all of those words mean, but in this particular phrasing, it's challenging because the way you use a word in a sentence in a context is the way you use it in context matters, and that's the challenging part. Being a learner is figuring out that, for me anyway, is understanding the phrasing. Tapuega ge ti tan maexitutam. Oh, there's a big word. Tapaguewipeneo hipiyak. So then truly ge ti tanma. I don't know that word. Ge ti tan maexitutam. So then he did that. Tapaguewipeneo hipiyak. I have to go read this. What does it say? And so it was then that he did as he had been told in his dream. He put a rope around one, I'm assuming. Is that what this must be? That Tapawaipineo. Alright, let me get to the next page. Page 5. Pe sepuetaheo. Pe pimitsahok. Ohe saohe. Ko taganesto. So 3 of them for sure. Pe sepuetaheo. So he I think he tried to leave with one. Pe mitisahok. Pimitisahok did something. I don't know that word. Pimitisaho. Pimitisaheo. Pimitisaheo. Oh, hey, so we go taganisto and 3 more, I guess. What does that say over here? The neck of one of them. So that's where you put a rope around the neck of one of them, I guess. Led it away. That's an interesting word. Led it away. It followed him along with 3 others. Is that the follow? Pimtisaheo? That's interesting. Pimtisahok. Gapi sekegwa te tapo. We say giat iti. E tips kaek ite nesto sit. Oh, let me think about this word for a second. Sagaha peteo. E mitsoyet. E wapaniek asaimina. See if I can puzzle my brain through this. So, I guess all day long he rode it. He rode te tapo. So again, this is from a learner perspective. We learn that word te tapo and is like a chair, but it comes from this te tapo, which is like to ride something. Like if you rode a horse or whatever, you'd say te tapo. We sa gietist. Oh, I know what that is. As that apparently is that he'd been told. Iti, I know what that means. That's from iteo. That which he had been told, apparently. Okay. I was struggling with this word, but I know what that is now. Etipskayak, when it was dark, ite nestosit. Something he was tired. Where he was tired? I don't know how to phrase this. Sagahapeteo. E mitsoyet, and he ate. I don't know this word. E wapaniek, and then it was dawn again. Saimina. Sagahapeteo. Okay, let's see what this is over here. So all day long he rode as he had been told to do. Yep. At night when he got tired, he tied it up so it could graze. Next morning at daybreak, he did the same. Okay. Yep, interesting. Again, phrasing. E wapaniek asaimina. He did it again. Sagapeteo imitsoya. This must be to tie it up, eh? When it was dark where he got tired, he tied it up to mitsoya. This is that animal. Kinways. Wayo ways kamekuma kagitotit. Wayo ways kamek. I've heard that before, like, I don't know exactly the phrasing. Kagitotit. What's this over here? Eventually, after a long time, he had gone a very great distance. Interesting. Phrasing. Interesting phrasing. Tapoy tago singawi, so he got back again. He returned, I guess. Wa go squapisinwak. Go squapisinwak. Aisinuwak. So they were amazed, I guess, these people. And so it was when he got back. Wow, the people were amazed. Yeah, okay. Magagaya te wia atemwa. Hegi ayawa tik atem. Gisigati tik ugi. Dogs. Ego he wap ma tik aha mista tim ego tan ma mista tim go te. Isigasotik. Again, my brain's like, I think I know all the words in there, but I don't know how to phrase it. So we'll go check that in a second. I'll just read through this one more time. Magagaya te wia atimwa egi ayawa tik atim. Go sigati tik ugi dogs egwa ohe. He wap ma tik. Ah, Mr. Tim, ego tan ma Mr. Tim go sigastik. Okay, let's see over here. They already had dogs that they called atim. And these looked like dogs, so they called them misatim. That's why they are called misatim. I'm going to read that one more time just to try and sink some of that in. Magagayate uyan maigi. They already, they had igiayawa tsikatim, so they already had gosigati tsikogi dogs. Ego he wapmatik. Phrasing. Okay, we'll just keep going. Miswats to opigituak. Eates opigi hitotik. Opigi hitotik. Hexigaya so mietona wa kakio awiak. I got a comment here. Lee says he's talking about dogs and people referred the horse to big dogs. Yeah. Yep, that makes sense. We're just, because we're language learners, we're just studying here. And we got the translation over here. This is my process for studying. I try to puzzle through and see if my brain can make sense of what's being said. And then I will go over and check and read that, and then usually I'll come back and read this part again and try and sink in some of the context, if that makes sense. It's just my process. It helps because I might not understand things in the moment. You know, what's really interesting about language learning is if you just do it enough, your brain just kind of figures some of the stuff out. Like maybe not everything, because if you think about how we learn language as kids, we don't study, right? We just hear the language, and through context and action, we understand where brains figure out what's going on. But it's not an immediate process, it's a lifetime process, right? So you think about your little ones, the things that the things that your 6-year-old and the things that your 16-year-old understand are different because they have a different amount of years of learning in context. So for me, for my process, I'm just trying to put more language in context. And I won't understand everything, but I guarantee you, if you just study, when you come back to things later, you're like, oh, I understand what that means now. I know what that means now. Because your brain will do the work if you keep feeding it. Misuats to opigi toak e ates opigi hitotsik. Something about raising each other. Hexigaya sumituna wow kakiwayak. Okay, let's go read this one. In any case, they will be raised and they will multiply. That's that word again. We actually ran into that word before. That's interesting. Okay. And as they increasingly multiply, you will pass them on to everyone. Interesting. Egsigaya so mi tunawa kakyoyak. It's implied in there, right? And as they do so is implied in that egse. Like it's saying, that's it. You'll gaya so mi tunawa kakyoyak. That's interesting how much you can imply with one word in the language sometimes. Ego e wiwa egio stasiet. Ego minawa. Egi pun matsit mat na peo eguana. Mina squil. Awa squil. O taco sa na peso he. Eti quatsimsa. Oti quatsimsa. Ki o pigeheo. Ego na peo wana moi ti ke meo he. I don't know this word. Oti quamsiua. Huh. Okay, there's a lot going on. This is one of those ones where it's like, I recognize most of those words. So this wife, when she had an older brother, egwa wiowa, egi pon pamat sit na peo egwana. So that man died, I guess. Mina squil awa squil. So this woman, Otsako saw her sister, I guess you'd say. Napesa ohe. Well, it's like young men or boys, I guess, but I don't know if it's implied as like her boys. And this one here, Oti Quatsimsa. Gio Pigiheo, she raised them. Ego na peo awa moi tige meo he. Let's go read it. Yeah. Now this man's wife had an older brother, and that man had passed away. Oh, the man's wife had an older brother, Ostasiet, and that man had passed away, and so this woman, her sister-in-law, that's at Otsakusa, had raised this boy, her young nephew. The man didn't like her young nephew. Holy. You know what's interesting is like all of those, it's rare in the books and stuff for people to talk about relations in this way, like in this kind of, with this degree of specificity. So I'm going to come back and read this a few times one of these days because, again, it's one of those things where it's like, well, I didn't know this word. Oti quatsimsa. Yeah, that word means nephew. So I didn't know that word, but like, I had this part about 30% correct. Let's move on. Okay. Iate osknik sitawa egwa mistate mawa gotnat emitsetoi uma. As he was becoming a young man, he took a horse. Let's go read this. One time when he was getting to be a young man, he took a horse somewhere with a lot of people around. Oh, I didn't get that word. See, one word can just... It's like unspecific, where there were lots of people around, I guess, and that uma's on the end, I guess, for emphasis. Ete tapit kape miska gut. Ohe osa. Ka nitsawe pingut. Moi kia gagi mi goi and gaitagut. Okay, chiskwa. Let me think about this for a second. So as he was riding, gape miska gut. Yeah, they found him. Kape ohi osissa. Nisis. Nisis is nisis. Oh, it's a relational term. I forget what it is. Ka nitsue pingut. Nitsue pingut. Moikia kagi migoyin. You weren't given that, he told him. As he was riding, somebody nitsue pingut. I don't know this one either. What's it say over here? He was riding when his uncle, so okay, that's Uncle Ossa. His uncle came and found him and threw him off the horse. Holy. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Nitsue pineo, so like, nitse is like downwards. Weipin, weipe. Like if weipina, that's like to throw something. Weipin would be to throw somebody. So ga nits weipin, gut. He was thrown down. I guess the implication is on the ground, or threw him off the horse. Basically threw him on the ground. It wasn't for you that the horse was given, his uncle told him. Gita gut. Moi kia gagi migoyen. You weren't given that, I guess. Gita gut. Cool. How eggsy? Ni pewe hick, he was is it like he hid from him, or he was like ashamed? It made him ashamed, maybe? Eggsy papimsin. Yeah, embarrassed? Okay, yeah, his uncle made him embarrassed, I guess, see? Yeah. And so the uncle caused him to be ashamed, and he lay there on the ground. Ego tapapimsin. A tipskaik. So when it was dark, so then at dark he left. So squats, I guess that's like he just left, but who knows where he was going, I guess. When evening came, he left. He just set out. It didn't matter where. Okay, that makes sense. Didn't matter where. Is there another page to this? Yes, there is. Page 6. So eventually, I guess, at some point, as he was sleeping, I guess, I guess I could mean like, yeah, as he was sleeping, I guess. Uma, kape otita gut. Sounds like somebody approached him. Ke teta, ke teaya, e wapstagwanit. He thought it was an old person with white hair, something. Tiskwa. One time as he was falling asleep, it appeared to him as though an old man with white hair was approaching. Oh, because he's not asleep yet. Yeah, that makes sense. As he was falling asleep. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Here my brain was like, as he was sleeping? How did he know somebody was coming if he was asleep? How? Eogoma. Eatisnagua kaski eogo. Ego tagita pimotein anatic. Kamitin pesisquak mitzetic. Maga. Pesuat wawe. I sino axo squats. Ketetakik. Tase totamastic. Okay, let's kind of puzzle through this. So this one here, Uma tisanagwa, aski eogo, something about looks like something, aski eogo, looks like the earth, I don't know. Ego taget. Ego tata pemotein, you're going to go there, he was told. Gimitin psisquark means I'm going I'll give you lots of animals, he was told. That old man told him. Magapisuatwawe. This word is besuat. Besuatwawe. If you, does it have to do with waiting? If you wait? No. I see no squads teta kiktas and totamastic so the something about taking it for themselves. So squats teta kick. Let's go see what it says over here. Well then, the old man told him, you are to go where the land looks as I describe. That's one of those sentences where it's like, oh yeah, this is my Ochi's pen. Yeah, this is my favorite pen. I lost the last one. I had to go get another one. So like that part in there was like, the old man told him, you are to go where the land looks as I described. And I'm like, that's just implied, because it's, get the Pimotian, egota get the Pimotian, you need to go there, you're gonna go there. But I'm like, where's the part where he's saying he described it? It's not in there. It's just implied. So yeah, there's a lot in there. Okay. So this one told him, so I'm going to give you lots of animals. I am giving you animals, many of them, the old man said. But when you return home with them, the people are to take them simply as they choose. When you return home. I don't know that word. Interesting. I see no axo squats teta kick this otinamastic. Yeah, I'll have to think about that some more. Again, phrasing, right? It's all about phrasing. The way you phrase something. But I'm like, what is that word? Besuatwa. Let's just go look it up. Besuatwawe. Besuatwawe. I know it means if. Besuatwawe. Besuel. Okay. To bring someone. Oh, okay, interesting. Besuel. So if you bring them or when you bring them. That makes sense. Okay. That makes sense. Besuel. So how do you say to bring that one? Did you just say besu? Tisqua. I gotta look that up now. That's one of those weird ones that doesn't have a tisqua. If you want to say bring that one. Oh, I gotta do my puzzle. Tisqua. Puzzle. Do my puzzle so I can stay on my live. If I want to say bring that one, if I just say that to one person, tell that person to bring. So pesu, you can say that. But if it's more than one, bring them. Pesuik. Interesting. That's one of those ones that ends in W. Because lots of times your transitives, like wapam, wapamik, sagi, hik, I guess M, H, N, they can end, but these W ones, Besu, they don't have a, I guess it's just Besu, yeah, so I guess it's the same. This app is called Etoyona. You can find it on just Google Plains Cree Dictionary. It's called Etoyona. This is from the University of Alberta. And it's not an app, it's like you need to do it in the browser. I think maybe they have an app plan, but they just right now you have to use the web browser to get to it. Okay. Janelle, TikTok wants me to invite you. Do you want to join? Okay, let's keep going here. Oh, my iPad's being a pain again. Sipwiti piak. No, we're not there yet. Not there yet. Where are we at? This one here, yeah. Got this. Domestic. Okay, so maga we a kisis. Ega ya kiwe mia kan. Gitagut. He was told that that old man told him, Maga we a kisis. Your uncle. Maga, that one your uncle. Mia kan, don't give him any, I guess, is what he's saying. Mia kan. And I think that's like, let me go see if I got that right. Yeah, don't give him any. But as for your uncle, do not give him any, he was told by that old man. You see how that's ambiguous in English? He was told by him. If you didn't specify, he was told by him, it'd be like, if you didn't know the context, you'd be like, who was told by who? But in the language, kanihui and manaya, if you look at the language, it's in there. Ittegut. Gitagut. And same as this one, itik, it's clear who's saying to who. Who's saying to who, because it's like that. That's just the way the language is. It's more specific. Mia kan. If you just said a guy akigwe me, that's sort of, this mia kan means like later. It's like a command, like don't give it to him, but it's the implication is later on. Right? Mia kan. I'll show you where that is on that. Tisqua. That the word is mieo. Mieo means that person gives something to someone. That one gives it to someone. If you go expand all the way down, they call it the delayed. It's delayed, meaning later. There's no way to, that's this one here. Miakan. Miakan. So if I want to say, give it to me, now I say me in, but if I say give it to me later, me kan. That's like maybe like the next time, like later on today or the next time I see you. Same thing. The language is specific like that, hey? Because in English, if you wanted to say give it to me later, you'd have to say, hey, give me that later on when you come back. But in the language, you can say me kan. You're saying give it to me, but you mean later on. So that's, excuse me. So that's this one here. Miik would be like give it to them. Oh no, sorry. This one here. Yeah, me, right now. This would be like right now. Me. That's, you're saying give it to that one. Me, if you want to say give it to them. Miik. This one can actually be confusing. Because this also means all y'all give it to me. See, it's this, you say that the same. All y'all, miik. So the context matters for that one. But this one we just saw, miak, and that means later on. When you see your uncle, don't give him none. That's what he's saying there. How once got they go gigse bag gigse pak. Typo. Kasi puitete sa. Wiomaski gawapa ta kitetak papemo teo eu goe ko papemo teo. Wa so squatse guai sipuitit. Again, all of those words are really simple, but when I read it like that, I'm like, I don't fully understand everything. There's a lot that I feel like there's more being implied in here. So when he woke up in the he woke up in the morning. When he woke up in the morning, he left. We almost ski that earth, I guess, that when he saw that land, I guess, he thought papemoteo. Elgo egua papemoteo. So I guess he went around there, washo squats egua isipitate, and then he just left. That's how I understand that. But let's go see what it really means. When he awoke the next day, he must have set out. That's what that esa means. He must have, apparently, esa. And he saw that land just as it had appeared to him, and he followed that way. Wah! He just set out. See, learner mistakes, hey? When we learn this word, sipwe, teo, we learn is like to leave, but all these words can have more meaning, hey? That's why hearing these stories, reading the stories, whatever way it works to like get more language and try and understand the context, because it's the language is beautifully sophisticated. Okay, I'm going to read that one more time. I like to read this, and then I like to, oh, that's what it means, and then I read it again, and I hope that'll help sink it in. Hope that'll help sink it in a little bit. Sorry, phone's wobbling all over, my arm's getting sore. How e wan squat gwagig sepag kasipwe te sa. Wilmas ki gawapatak ki te tak papemoteo. Elgo egwa papemoteo wa so squats egwa e sipwe tet. Tapweo ti tamuma e te geti toma. Misa kamik ego te misatemwa wapmeo. All right, so this part I understand. He saw horses there. So he truly then he approached it where he was told about. There's that word again, gate. This one here, why they spell it that way sometimes? It's there might be reasons for that, but it really means that place he was told about. Misah kamek, I forget what that means. I want to look this one up though. It comes from iteo, that one there. And what's interesting about this one is itit, that means gaitit means like that he was told about. Like it's not being specific. There's a word for that. You don't need to know, but I'll talk about it for a second anyway in case you find it interesting. But the word is iteo, which means that person tells something to someone, says something to someone. But that form, gaitit, it comes from, we'll just go eetit because that's easier. And there's this pronoun that's called unspecified. And these are the most common ones that you see, the ones that end in ao. So itao means he was told, right? If you go up here through these, let me turn on the nihio labels here. We'll do these ones here. Right? So if I say, I told him, geez, I gotta find it now. Oh, geez, with the nihio labels, I'm all confused now. I told that one, nititao, or etak. Nititao, I told that one. Or if you told that one, kititao. Kititao. Somebody, that one tells somebody else, iteo. That one says that to someone. But when you get to this one, itao, it means we don't know who's telling him. It's just like, they call this unspecified.
Are you live?
Unspecified, yeah. We're
live.
And it just says awia here kind of in brackets, but it's unspecified. They call that. It's not specific. He was told, or she was told, they were told. Itao. But the conjunct of that is this one, eti. And that's what we're seeing in the story, eti. As he was told, or when he was told. So that's what that was. That's that one right there. Geti. Where he was told. Geti toma. Misa kamik. I don't know that word. Ego te misatemwa wapmeo. Okay, what does that mean? Oh, there he saw a great many. Misa kamik. I guess that means a great many. I don't know. And so it was that he arrived where he had been told to go. There he saw a great many horses. Oh, come on, my iPad's being a pain again. There we go. Peago he, kiskanohamago, esnagosiet, ego neta utnat. That, to take that one, so Piako he, he'd been, I want to say instructed, I'm guessing. He was instructed to take one that looked a specific way, isinagosiet, egoneta otena, tapuesos quats itoteo ni poiua. So he went there where it was, the horse was standing, egsipe te tapu, and he jumped on, I guess. He mounted it, rode it, I guess, pe te tapu. He rode it back. Let's go check this one. I'm guessing at this one. Giskano hamago. Let's go see. Oh, he'd been shown. I get it. One was the horse that he had been shown in his dream. The one he was to take. And so it was. He went right up to it and it just stood there, and so he rode it back. Cool. I'm going to read that one more time. Peago higiskano hamago is nago siet egone ta utna. Ta apuesos quats ituteo ni pawiwa expetetapo. So that you on the end, because we're talking about this mistatemwa, right? Remember we talked about the language being specific? This is one of those things that it's not like complicated. Once you get it, you get it. It makes sense. But normally if you're talking about more than one horse, you'd say mistatemwak or misatemwak. But because we're talking about the horse and the young man and an interaction between them, right? When we say wapameo, that's kind of like that thing before where it was like he was told by him. Wapameo is like he sees him, or that one sees that one. It's like, okay, which one are we talking about? But because there's wa on the end of this mistatim or misatim, we know it's the horse that was seen, or the horses. This could be plural or singular. Misatim wa, one or more. He approaches them. And then the same here, this itoteo, this is the young man, but that you wa on the end tells us that's the horse, because the horse has that wa on the end. Ni puiwa, the horse just stood there. The horse stood there, egsipe tapu, and then this is the young man again. That's why that you wa, because otherwise it would be nipo. If it was nipo, we'd be talking about the young man, but ni puiwa, we're talking about the horse. Hope that makes sense. Okay. Wa pimitsa kamik. It's an interesting word. Pe pimtisa hok ha taniego pe na nutsi tagwe. That's interesting. Gao tagosin. So this part here means he arrived again. He went back. This one here, there's a fancy word for this, that tagwe at the end. Tagwe. What do they call that? dubitative or whatever. This actually has etagwe in there. That's what that is. It sort of makes it, it throws doubt or question on the thing that's happening. I don't know this word, nutsitagwe, so we're going to go find out what that means in a second. Yeah, Dagosin. Is that Nishnabemwin? Dagoshin, is that the way you say that? Dagoshin? Yeah, sometimes they sound similar and sometimes they sound so different. Cool. Let's go find out what this word means. Bimtisakamik. Bimtisahok. We saw this one before. Let's go read what. And then I'm super curious about this one. This is a question. How much tanigo pena nutsitagwe? I'm pretty sure that's what they call that dubitative. Let's go see what this means. Wah, many more came following. Oh, interesting. Oh, I don't know how many he drove back. There's that questionable part. When he went back home. Interesting. That's so interesting. This is, there's so many interesting words in this sentence. Bimitisahkamik. He led them back. Bimtisahok. And then there's that question about by nutsita. I want to know what this word is now. Nutsita. I wonder if you could say nutsiteo. That's probably not it. He drove back. Let's go see if we can find it. We'll go dictionary diving for a second here. Nutsit. Let's see if we can find the word. Nutsit. Tao. Nutsitao. Nutsitao. So to work at them. Nutsitao. Pursue, to work on. I wonder if that's the word. Make an effort over, struggle with. I wonder if that's it. But then that nutsitagwe put some like casts doubt on it, I guess. The question Katie says is, what at the beginning of a word, just word of emphasis. It's kind of like, it's an expression. It's an expression of, I guess in English you'd be like, holy. Or you'd be like, wow. I don't know. Come on, help me out. What's some other ways you could interpret wah or wah? You could say like, oh man. It's kind of just like an expression. Wah. Holy smokes, Carmen says. Holy smokes. Yeah, that's exactly it. Wah. Because it's sort of, the thing is, what they're implying here, like in this one he's saying, he led a whole bunch of horses back. He says, I don't even know how many he brought back when he arrived, right? There was so many. So he's just trying to emphasize how many, like how incredible this was, I guess, eh? So wah. That's what he's saying there. It's just like emphasizing how incredible it was, I guess. Oh, what's this word here? Dagosin means to arrive. Dagosin means that one arrives. Or that one returns, I guess you could say. Dagosin. So Gawi Dagosin, when he came back. Dagosin. Egwe ogoma. Eu se tsasiniek tige. Ego te sage we te tapit. Metane must agwanahamwak. Must what was a tongue twister? Agwanahamwak. Spatnauma misate mako he misakamek. So this is a Again, they were plentiful, but why didn't he say misatemwa? Oh, I'm confused again. Tiska. Egwa eogoma. And so this one, eoseita siniiktige, beside something. Egote sage wete tapit. Sage wete tapit metone most agwana hamwak spatnauma. Misatemwak ohi misakamik. I think that's supposed to be misatemwak, but let's go read the other part and see what's going on over here. When he rode into view from behind a hill, near where they lived, there were so many horses, they completely covered the hill. I didn't get any of that. Okay, so this is the part where he rode into view. He rode into view there. I guess this is the part that means I just don't know that word at all. That's interesting. Okay. Metenemos aguanahamwak spatnaum. Misatemwak ohe misakamek. I think it's supposed to be misatemwak. That's okay. Okay. We're at the bottom of the page, that's why. Lyndon says, remember, it's like French. It's backwards. Well, the phrasing is, it's not, I think it's more, there's more to it than that. But yeah, I know what you're saying. It's kind of backwards, but it's kind of like there's so many parts to learning as a learner. There's vocabulary, right? There's words, there's nouns, but then there's phrasing. The way you put the words together, or sometimes it'll be just one little, like you'll just put one word in there will change the whole meaning. And it's not always a noun or a verb. Sometimes it's like it'll just be some word that you don't understand that'll change everything. These ones aren't too bad. Let's move on to the next one here. Wa kuskweta mwakaisinu wa kegwa kiwani hauya. Tante tegwe pogoigi na nitana. Maybe just run through that one more time. Wa kuskweta mwak. Was that amazed? We run into that word. So the people were amazed. Kuskweta mwak. Egwa giwani hauya. They lost him. Tate tegwe pogoigi na nitana. He was looked for. Let's go read the English here. Well, the people were amazed, for they had lost him, and they had searched where he might have gone. Oh, yeah, that makes sense, because he left. Oh, actually, I'm going to read this one more time. Because they'd lost him. Okay. Egwawa ochitawi sagayaski pe aikin. We saw this word earlier, but I forget what it means already. Eute nawita tsik. Peak ute puistamageo. Ute puistamageo is like someone who, would you call that a crier, or somebody a caller, somebody who calls for the people? I think that's what that is. Egitagot had been there. See, there's one of those words, pute. I forget what that means, but I know it has a lot of meaning here. Pote ego ne. Oh, is this one like certainly? Pote. Let's go see what it says over here. Now, as it happens, long ago there was always one person in camp who was a crier. Yep. And straight to that very crier the young men went. Interesting. Certainly. Pote. I think I understand that as certainly. Pote. I have to look this word. I don't run into it enough that every time I run into that word, I'm like, geez, what does that mean again? Pote. Lo and behold. Interesting. Lo and behold. I'm going to read that one more time. Oh, I got some comments here. Lyndon says certain vowels are not in there. I grew up with a fluent Salish speaker and failed my language course because I couldn't. Yeah, reading and writing is hard. I mean, it's, if you think about it, I mean, like we didn't learn to read and write English overnight either. It's definitely, and languages, indigenous languages don't have the same sounds as English, so we end up with a lot of characters with marks and with these, what they call diacritics, all the different things to try and represent those sounds. My wife's language is in Silchin, Okanagan Salish, and Kailuchin, and there's sounds in that language that are, like, she's really good at them now, but man, they're really hard. There's some sounds in there that just are not in English. What resource are you using right now? Kokum's House Yeg. So we're reading a story from, this one's from Cree Literacy Network. We're on page 6, so we'll come back to that. Cree Literacy Network, and we're reading this story here. It's called Cree Stories of the Horse and Buffalo. That's the one that we're reading. We're on the second story in this PDF. I think we're just about done, actually. Excuse me. We're on page 6. Let me get back there. 2, 3, 4. And then the other resource we're using is Itoiwana, which is the online Cree dictionary. Itoiwana. You can just find that if you just search for Plains Cree Dictionary online. You can find it. We're on page 6, and we're close to the bottom, I think. I just wanted to... did I miss any other comments? I think that's everything. So this one, Ochitao, is like on purpose. Ochitao Esa. But the Esa kind of, would you say it like it softens it? Like it means, if you say Esa, you're like, you're saying like likely or probably or like apparently, because, you know, you weren't there maybe. Kipe aikin. I think that's duplication. Aikin. Gaias kipe aikin. It was there. It come to be there. E ote now itatsik. This word is like, ote now is like, it sounds like a town, but ote now itatsik. Ote now itao. Let's go see if we can find this. I'm not confident. Like one per town or something. Otenauita. There it is. Oh, I see where the town is formed. Where the town is formed. That's interesting. All these words. So, Otitao is, which sort of sounds like intentionally, or there's always one there. Where there's a town, where they've formed a town. Beak opte pues tamageo, one crier egi tagut. He sort of like exists there, I guess you'd say that. Like, we're literally interpreting word for word. But that's what those mean. Ego te ito tewa was, so he went there. I don't understand that part, but we'll just keep going. Next page. Okay, we're just about done. Look at that. We tamoil so squats. The otena stimwit I sinua. Magagawi tena na kisis moe wea kigwe kaut nat deo. So he tells him otena stimwit. Is that horse taking? I sino maga gawi tena na kisis. But I'm gonna tell my uncle, that uncle of mine, you don't get to take one. I guess he told him. Okay, let's go see what it says over here. Well, he told the crier that the people were to simply take whichever horse they thought they should have. Interesting. But, he said, you must tell that uncle of mine, oh yeah, gawitin. Tell that uncle of mine he cannot take one. Okay, I'm going to read this one more time. So he says to the crier, so squats the otenastimweit. I'm going to look up this word, otenastimweo. It's a very specific word. And when you see, because that astim part is the horse part. Yeah, to take a horse. And this is one of those things that's interesting about the language. Because that is such a very specific word. It's just so specific. And it just makes me think, like, can you say, if you can say, o tenastemwe, like take a horse, or like maybe steal a horse. Can you put that together with other words? Like, could you say, like, take water, or take some food, or take something else? Like, it's just so specific. Let me go check Ben's site here for a second. 1 second. Ben, God. Let's look up by, I want to see all the words that start with utin. No. Spell check. No, I want it to start with utin. Can I do that? Yeah, here they are. Otenamoyo, take something for someone. Otenamaso, take it for yourself. Otenascale, to take land. Otenamatoak. Otenigateo, it's purchased. And the horse one, I don't even think it's even, oh, maybe there's another, no, it's, the horse one's not even in here. Purchase, captive. Huh. No, only the land one, to settle land or homestead. Otenascale. Man. That's interesting. Well, it's just like it's such a specific word. It's just so specific. So this one's called Etueuna, and then there's the Plains Cree Dictionary, and then this one is my friend's site, Ben. This one's very specific. You have to go to bengodden.com, 2 Ds, and it's not really a dictionary. It's sort of like you can look up words by part. So if I want to see all of the words that end in H-E-W, let me just see if I can do that. H-E-W. It's got to be spelled correctly, though. It can't be it's got to have the macron, the prop little h, right? So I think I can do that, and then a $sign, which is something oh, let me take that out. Go back. Yeah, so this is what I search for, that H-E-W, and then I can see every one of the words that came up will have that in there, H-E-W. It will probably end, they'll probably all end in that. So he just built a tool so you can find parts of words, but I don't know if there's instructions that comes with it. So you just kind of need to know how it works, unfortunately. Okay, let's finish our story here. I got another comment. Look up Thompson language, L, in your spare time. Thompson language. Hold on, I missed a bunch of comments here. I'm going back. Lyndon says, I didn't understand the nouns or preverbs. Oh, yeah, okay, now we got that one. Lyndon, for my people, James Teat was writing about my people and was fluent in the language and translated. AAA says, why are you studying a language that's dress? I don't understand that question. There's no point to what you're doing in today's culture. I mean, that's your opinion. There's no point to you being here. Lyndon says, look up Thompson language in your spare time. Inflections, I think that's how you say that. Inflections. I'm butchering that, I'm sorry. Create says, maybe taking courses is a specific seasonal skill. Maybe. Like, I think there's lots of cool words like that are just like so very specific that they had to have been used a lot. And that's just one of them, I guess, eh? Lyndon, how do the Cree people on here treat you? Me specifically? How do they treat me? Very kindly, usually. Yeah, I mean, folks are kind, usually. What is that? Dictionary, I think we got that. And what was the first site? What is the other site? The first one, can you show it again so I can write it down? Jaden asks. I'll do both. So one is it. Wait, another dictionary. Did you mean this one, Jaden? I'll go slow. So I see there's a whole bunch of comments coming in. So that's one. You can just search for Plains Cree Dictionary. Then there's another site here. This one is the Ben Godden's site. You just have to see if you can screenshot the URL. And then the site we're on right now is the Cree Literacy Network, which is this one here, Cree Literacy. There's lots of stories on here. If you go to just either read and listen in Cree, either Atsumona or Tayokeona, there's lots of stuff in there to just, and lots of them have audio too, because Solomon Rat, I went to the wrong page. Solomon Rat's contributed a ton of stuff. How do I close this menu, Arden? How do I close the menu? It's driving me crazy. Atsumona. That one. Okay, now we're there. Okay, back to, sorry, comments. Jaden says, how is there no point? Sir culture. You know what's really, I want to talk about this for a second. We're just about done anyway. Just about done that story. I'm going to flip this around because it's a really important point here. And I mean, this was just, there was a study on this recently, but like, if you don't know where you come from or you don't know where you belong, there's just so much more of a chance that you're going to run around and do dumb shit. And that's sort of what the Western world is just a bunch of people that don't know where they come from, have no community or no sense of community, have no sense of belonging, don't really have a culture, and they just run around and do dumb shit, right? And so as for our Indigenous people, right, my relatives, I'm a Métis person, I'm obviously a white person too, but I always tell people, like, being between worlds, I never felt like I belonged anywhere until I started learning this language. This is my grandmother's language. I never felt I belonged anywhere because I don't really feel like I belong in the white world. I never fit in there really well. I don't do really well in that world. And then even going to ceremony and stuff like that, I mean, like, I stand out a little bit, people are kind. It's the way it is. But when I started learning this language and understanding where my family comes from, where my grandmother come from, and all of that history and stuff, it's incredibly important that we know where we come from. It's incredibly important that we know where we belong. And none of these things are separate from our languages, right? The language is super important. So if you, and just to sort of, you know, if you like life, if you like living on this earth and breathing the air and having food and all of that kind of stuff, the biodiversity of the planet is tied to indigenous languages, indigenous diversity, indigenous peoples, right? These things are important. And so the Western science is slowly, may never catch up, but slowly catching up on some of those things. Our languages are super important. They're super important. So, and if you don't believe that, I mean, you can go do your own thing. Let me get caught up on the comments here. Chiskwa. Which Cree? I'm learning Nihiwe and Plains Cree dialect. Lyndon, keep doing what you're doing. Much love, actually said it correctly. Miasin. Miss Daddy says, your video has been extremely helpful with my own language journey. Miasin anma akameamo. Hope I'm saying that right, Lyndon. Inkapmux. Is that right? I hope I'm saying that right. It sounds like, because it's a Salish, it's means the people, right? As you say there, it means the people. But you said it was Salish, so the sounds are probably similar to my wife's language, which are really hard. Bethlehem says, Mi'kmaq here. Daryl, I can hear the heart in your words. Miasin. Jeffrey, I'm learning Korean Ojibwe for an Englishman's difficult polyglot. Miigwech. Miasin. Ak memo. First voices. Jeffrey says, need someone in Vancouver to practice with. There's probably Nihiwak in Vancouver for sure. I know there's folks out there. It's got to make connections. Lyndon, me and you both have green blue eyes. Get what you're saying. Carmen, how long have you been learning? About 7 years. Nipiki Oma, in this summer. Ganipiko Maya. Yeah, Nanto te pagopaski. Spending imatsi Nihiwan. It's been 7 years since I started. Jaden, 1000% have to stay connected. Purpose comes with connection. Carmen, I do this every Sunday. I missed last Sunday because we just got out of camp and I was driving. Oh, Shanizzle's here. Oh, that book is just getting, your birthday book is just all chamaks sitting on the shelf over there. Just wait. I walked by today. I'm like, no, that book is still there. Just kind of waiting. Katie says, the conversational group is going in every Wednesday in Calgary. And it's at, if you go to the, what is it? It's the Blackfoot Diner. The Blackfoot Diner on, I guess that's Blackfoot Trail. They do it 5:30 on Wednesdays. They've only been going for about like a month. I posted it on Facebook. I'm going to post it again. If you know people, just go. Conversational groups rely on people showing up. So even if you're the one that shows up, then that means that group is still going, right? Wayne Jackson started a conversational group in Edmonton. Otaya, Miskwati Waskagani. In 2008, it's still going. Almost 20 years. Almost 20 years, 16 years later, 17 years later, it's still going because people still show up. Wayne Jackson doesn't show up. He hasn't been there for a long time. He pops in every once in a while. But that group is still going. Every Thursday night they meet. Somebody shows up. Jaden, any advice for beginners as it's very overwhelming to look at as a whole? Just take it one day at a time. Just do a little bit at a time. Connect with other learners. Like if you've taken classes or you've taken any like courses or any of that kind of stuff, try to stay connected with the people who, especially other language learners or mentors. The majority of the learning that the teaching that I've received is from other language learners who've already done this journey ahead of me. And that's how we do this, is together, right? We have to support each other in this journey because a language does not live without us using it And there's a big gap for us to fill as learners to get to the place where we feel we can converse and be understood and understand our fluent speakers. And our fluent speakers don't necessarily know how to teach us. They want to speak the language, and so they'll speak with us. And so as learners, I believe we need to do the work too, right? We need to not just show up, but also listen every day. That's probably one thing. Like if you're not sure where to start, get your hands on some language, some audio. I'll put my site on here for a second. You can go find a whole bunch of resources on my website. Flip camera. Okay, so if you go to this site, Kiano.net. This is my site, Kiano.net. Can you see that? Right there, Kiano. Take a screenshot. 3, 2, 1. There you go. Okay. So if you go there, Kiano.net, and then you go to this learner library up here, this one, okay? When I find stuff on the internet, I put it here. So if you want to listen to stuff, just click on listen. And then this is all, this isn't the whole internet, but this is like go listen to NBC. You can go there and just listen to the radio. They have Cree stories on there all the time. There's podcasts here. There's music here. There's other podcasts. So as I find stuff, I'll put it here. If you want videos, then go on the watch one, right? Again, I don't have all of YouTube or anything on here, but like as I find stuff, I put it here. So there's like different stuff. There's years and years worth of resources just right here. So just go find stuff. And I try my best. Where's that button? If you go here, click on the filters one. See if that works. Does it work? Yeah, okay. And then you can go level and beginner. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean it's all going to be beginner, but it'll sort of drill it down to more beginner-friendly stuff. So you can kind of start there. But I would recommend like listening. Listen to the language a lot. Because when you're starting out, especially if you didn't grow up in community, if you don't understand the sounds of the language, and I understand it's like it is hard to listen to the language and just not understand, but if you just take 15 minutes a day, what'll happen is your ear will start hearing words and you'll be like, oh, I think I know that word, right? You'll start hearing the sounds. You'll start understanding the little, like recognizing the bits and pieces. And then you can get into something like another really great resource. Let me turn my camera on again. I know there's more comments. I'll get to them. Flip camera. And then next for you, I would recommend this one. So we'll clear all filters. We come here and we'll search for language of the plains. So if you search for language of the plains and you scroll down, and these ones here, so there's Cree language of the plains, Genokimasis. Here's the PDF, it's free online. And then there's a workbook, it's free online. And then there's the audio. So the audio sessions, as you work through the workbook, Genokimasis sort of like narrates them. So you get the language and all of that. I would start with that one because that's a fantastic resource if you're not sure where to start. And connect with other learners. Okay, let me get to my comments again because I missed a whole bunch. I think I got that one. Thank you for the follows. Hope that, Jaden, I hope that's a good place. So you can always reach out to other learners. You can always reach out to me if you want. We don't have enough resources for Anishinaabe and Tapwe. We don't have a lot of resources. I think, yeah. Like, I think Anishinaabe and like, Plains Cree, Waida, like, Nihiu, and probably have, like, the most resources. I don't want to, like, say for certain, but just from what I see out there. But there's lots of languages and dialects. We definitely need more resources. Carmen says it's a little intimidating knowing how long you've been practicing. I take my courses soon for Cree. Don't be intimidated. I started exactly in that spot. I think because this is a lifetime journey, right? Like my mentors, I'll never catch up with my mentors. Like I remember when I started, I asked Neo Redcrow, like, oh, how long you been doing this? And he was like, what did he say? Like 4 years or 6 years or something. And so he'll always be 6 years ahead of me, right? Like when I met Les Skinner, he was like 10 or 12 years into his language journey, and he'll always have more language than me because he's just like 12 years ahead. But it's not a competition. Like, we work together to lift our languages up. Sounds like Jeffrey's going to fly into the conversational group in Calgary. Colin says, I have a language mentor. He's a PhD linguist in Anishinaabe, and he's extremely fluent. That's awesome. Sundays, I get started at 6 usually. I'm usually on Pacific time. This week I'm on Mountain time. Colin says, Bega is Tisqua. The Calgary group, Katie says, the Calgary group is Wednesdays at 5:30. Yeah, and Shanizzle went to school for it. And got awesome marks. Daryl says, you may know my late friend Daryl Ogimesim, language keeper instructor. I never met Daryl formally. I only know of, or Darren formally. I only know of Darren's materials, stuff that I've seen online. Okay, it was a whole bunch of chatting. I think we have two more stanzas left in our story, so let's go finish those. This one. We'll go finish the last. I think there was like 1 or 2 left, and then we'll be done with this PDF. So we'll do that now. Page 7, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, right at the end. We were talking about this last little bit here. Excuse me. How? We so squats. This was that word we were talking about. O tinastamwe. O tinastamwe. Da o tinastamwe. I see noa. Maga gawitain. This one here, it's implied he's saying you will tell Anakisis. You'll tell it to him. There should be a ge. So if you look this up in the Itoyona, it would be kega. Kegawitain. But whenever you hear people say this, you never hear the ke at the front. Like you just never do. You just say gawitain, like it's implied saying you will. It's implied ke ga, but you never hear ke, you just hear ga, gawitain. That's just the way I hear it. Moiwe akiwe gautnat. Iteo, he says to that one. Heg segutauma gagote otemtsik I sinuak. Oteimu is to have a. So here's another interesting word. Ote we learn as learners to mean like from. But in this context, in this position in the word, gagote otemtsik, it means with or. Yeah, I guess you'd say with. Like egotauma. That's where they came to be with horses. They came to have horses. Yeah, so with in that context. Aisinuak. Hawexin, that's the end. So what's the ego ta'oma? From there, I guess is what it's saying. And from that time on, those people had horses. They were with horses, I guess you could say it that way. Ote, gago, otimtik. And this one's interesting because I wonder if you can look. Let's see if that's in the dictionary. Oteimu. Another interesting word. Oteimu. Has a dog, has a horse. So again, it's not a verb anymore like atim. Atim is dog or horse, depending on who you talk to. Some people say misatim or mistatim for horse, but in these older stories especially, when they say atim, sometimes they mean horse. But this is a verb. This is actually a perfect example of this almost. Oteimu, that O and the U at the end, oteimu, that means that one has a horse. Or I guess that one has a dog. Oteimu. Just a really interesting word. There it is again. Oh, stop it. Boy, it doesn't like me zooming in on there. That's crazy. Gago. And I would say this is probably gagi. Gagi, but that uche kind of is gobbling up that sound. Gagoche. Gagoche timchik. From then on, I guess. Super interesting. All right, we're gonna just wrap it up there for tonight. I'll leave the live open for a few more minutes if there are any questions. Any last questions? Just double check my comments and see what I missed. Shanizzle says, I was encouraged by you. That's good. My prodigy. We're super proud of you for doing your schooling. That's why you got good marks, right? Good marks, but don't have a birthday book because it's still sitting on that shelf waiting. I'll be back next Sunday. What am I doing next Sunday? Yep, next Sunday I'll be here. I'm in Edmonton for another week and a half. We're broadcasting live from my travel trailer.
Sup?
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 And then next Sunday I'll be in Edmonton still. The following Sunday I will be in Sweetgrass. So I don't know what we're going to do. We'll probably just camp out Sunday night and then come home on the Monday. I don't know. Might be driving Sunday. We'll see. We're on the prairies for a couple weeks. Any last questions? Where's everybody phoning in from tonight? You don't have to tell us, but if you want to, let us know where you're from. I know we got some folks from the coast. Sounds like some folks from BC. Sounds like we got some folks from Calgary. Kawakatus. Saskatoon. Flying Dust. Edmonton. Another one from Saskatoon. Mimu Sagaigan. Did I say that right? Mimu Sagaigan. I'm going to go spend a week in Saskatchewan. There's so many places I want to go in Saskatchewan. I end up going through Saskatoon every once in a while, but Miu Sagaigan. Cool.
What does that mean?
I don't know. I used to know. What does that mean, Shanice? Shanizzle. Mew. That's not Pigeon Lake, is it? What's that lake called? I'm still learning all my... Oh, okay. Otherwise known as Pigeon Lake, Woodpecker Lake.
Go.
Interesting.
So you got it?
Pigeon Lake. All right, yep. I grew up in the Rocky Mountain House area. We lived in Otosquenik. Hegwa Ote Amiskuati was Skaiganik Nigipiwigan and Maga was Wasapiskuk. Nawiganan Negwa. We live across the mountains. West Kelowna Siga Take Ilgo Otsinas, the town of West Kelowna. Wista Giskano Humagas Magosit Upig Squew and we Tapsamagan, my wife, the one I'm tied to for life, was taught that word by an elder. You'd say Niwigamagan, that's my wife. Or my partner, my living partner, Niwigamagan, if you think about it. I guess like a living partner. Kaya. But Sainapan, she uses that word. Witsotapsamagan, she says, the one I'm tied to for life. Which is it's kind of a cool word. All right. We'll go for a couple more minutes just in case there's any late comments or questions. We've got some learners here, so if you have any questions, don't be shy if you have learner questions. We won't do names or anything, but yep, thanks for that. Yeah, Mia sini tago sini in Carmen. We'll see you next time. I wish I could spell it in Cree. I'm going to butcher this. I'm going to see. Going to bed. Nui gausimun. Nui gausimun. Or nuintonipan. I'm going to sleep. Nuinto gausimun. I'm going to lay down. I don't know if I could type in the chat. I could put it in there. Nui gausimun. Yeah. Miugwa me, you can say. Have a good sleep. Sleep well. Or sleep comfortably. Miugwa me. Yeah. Alright, just 2 more minutes. If there's any last questions, any learner questions, don't be. Kaya ni peo is sick. I had somebody say that a couple of folks, I got to meet, when we were at the camp in Hinton last week, I got to meet Chief Dale, what's her last name? Is it Steinhauer? From Saddle Lake. Onichiskaponi. And there was another person on here that messaged me that said, that came out to the camp, and then we only got to just sort of say hi, and then was right at the giveaway. So we didn't really get a chance to visit. And then somebody else messaged and said I was too shy to come and say hi, but Gaya Nepewasik, if you ever see me just out and about somewhere, just come up and say hi. Don't be shy. Yeah. How would you pronounce and translate Napeu? Napeu. I don't know if I know that word. Like Napeu is like, we use that word Napeu to mean like a man, I guess. It also means a brave, like in the sense of like a brave person, I guess. Like if you think about that word, nape kasuinu, or a nape represents the male, I guess you would say. Say nape pisim, like the kise nape spuagan, those kinds of things. But this one, I don't quite know the word you mean, nape. Try and see if I can figure out from the English sounds. Napeo yao, it almost seems like you're trying to say, which doesn't sound like a word. Yeah, I don't quite know what you're asking, sorry. Yeah. Your Chapan's last name. Interesting. I wouldn't be able to translate, I don't think anyway, because I'm just a learner. I wonder if you could, if you ever run into just like an old person, especially from your community or nearby or something, maybe if you know how to say it, maybe you could try. Because names are funny, hey? Like names can be all kinds of things, and when we learn the language as learners, I want to say sometimes like the way we study things, we kind of learn like rules and stuff to try and fast track our understanding of what things mean. But it's a bit of a trap because in language there really are no rules per se. I just got a warning. For some reason that was weird. Oh, because I got my kids peeking in the camera. Don't be doing that. You're going to get me in trouble.
What's going on?
Oh, because the kid was peeking in on my TikTok, and so TikTok recognized them. Sheena, I want to say thanks again. Yeah, Tapui. Not a problem. Yep. Spacey. Hope I'm saying that right. If you get a chance, just go. Best just to go visit. That's part of revitalizing, reclaiming language too, right? Is bringing back those practices like yugato and like visiting each other. That's one of those things sometimes you'll hear that older people will say we've kind of lost that. Hey, it's a part of that Western Western influence and colonization, I guess you could say. The idea of individuality, where we don't spend time, we're divided up into small groups and we don't even know our neighbors, or we don't spend time, or we're afraid to, which is opposite of the my understanding of indigenous worldviews, where part of indigeneity is being in community, sitting together, common understanding, common knowledge, and that that knowledge is passed along, right? So if we don't sit with our elders, then they don't get the opportunity to pass those things along. And if you just go sit down and have tea with somebody, chances are they've been waiting for someone to come have tea with them anyway, and they'll just share stories and all kinds of things usually. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna shut things down. I'm gonna go have some supper. Kakyo kitam skat nawao. Kananaskum tinawao minaya. Kakyo gapegyo goek. Everybody that come to visit tonight, I appreciate you hanging out. We're gonna do this again on Sunday. We'll just read another story. I think we'll find something else on Cree Literacy Network and we'll work through it. In the meantime, mio tipiskan sick. I hope you all have a good evening, and we'll see you again next week. Ahau, exe.